And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Good morning, Bruce. How are you?
Top of the morning, Eric. I am in a moment of self-introspection where I'm trying to improve as a person.
Oh.
And so I'm looking to share my practice experience today with anyone that might want to come in and share practice. So I guess the Arizona Cardinals are going to make me a better person today.
Wow, that's very deep for you.
Yeah, it is very deep. I just wanted to start on the edge today.
That's where I'm at. My favorite deep thought is from a Saturday Night Live skit called Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy, to which my favorite line is, it takes a big man to admit that he cries, but it takes even a bigger man to laugh at that man. With that, I want to tell you about Roller Auction, the leader in Colorado auctions for over 45 years. On Thursday, August 21st, Planet Open Box is having an auction for small appliances, sound bars, household goods, camping equipment, workout equipment, and more. Online bidding has started at Roller Auction. Don't forget to go to rollerauction.com to learn about upcoming auctions. Get what you want at the price you want today at a Roller Auction. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it is one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue off 36th and Pecos.
Okay, so Broncos have their first and only joint practice with the Cardinals later today. And Bruce, I know you hate when I ask these questions, but I'd be remiss if I didn't start the morning by pissing you off a little bit by asking you a question where you're like, do I really have to make a choice here? But I'm asking you to make a choice. Okay?
Sure. Go.
Listen, Bruce, here's the deal, bro. Okay. If you want to write up all the show notes every single day and pose these questions for me, I'm great with it. But since I created the question, not that you have to answer it, but
I'm here. I'm here for you.
But if you don't like the way I form a question, form your own question and put me on the spot. How does that sound? Is that a deal?
It's a challenge, probably one that I'm not totally willing to take up, but that's okay.
Are you saying personally I am a challenge to work with, or the idea?
No,
a challenge?
Not at all. Not at all. You are not a challenge to work with. That much I can say.
Well, you are a sweetheart. Okay, so
right.
If you had a choice, would you rather have what happened in San Francisco, which is the Broncos' first team in offense and defense, excellent in their joint practice, but the offense struggles in the game on Saturday? Or would you rather have the first teams dominate the game on Saturday and not be as good in joint practice? If you had to make a choice, you want both.
I'm going to make a choice right now. I would rather be good in the shared practice.
Okay.
That's my deal. I would rather be better in the shared practice when you are ones against ones, twos against twos. You are setting up situations that you can control to get data on your team, and you can continue to work evaluation. Preseason is about evaluation. Yes, you're trying to get ready for the regular season, but you're largely working on evaluation, at least through the early part of camp. You're working on evaluation, figuring out what you really have with this football team. So give me the shared practice on Thursday. I would rather be dominant on Thursday than I would be on Saturday.
I cannot believe you got through that whole thing and didn't complain about the question in which you feel that I was putting you on the spot.
It's part of the new me, Eric. It's part of the new me. I'm telling you, I'm channeling these things today. I'm better off for it.
Did you have a long sit-down conversation with Sarah yesterday where she went through some things and said, Bruce, you might need to tweak this. You might want to tweak that. It'll be better for our marriage and your relationships.
Well, I'm constantly going through those things, but in truth, I had a couple of lattes this morning and I threw on a couple of candles. So I'm kind of in a Zen place.
Wow. And I have taken 15 showers already this morning, which we are certainly channeling our inner Sean Payton.
Yeah.
With that, in the game against San Francisco last Saturday, the Broncos' first team played the second team for the 49ers on both sides of the ball. Gannon, their head coach, talking about the Cardinals head coach, he will likely be playing his first team starters. Far more preferable for you, or does it really matter?
It's preferable. I don't know how much it matters, but I like measuring sticks. And you have to take everything in a relative sense. You got to know where you are. You're still basically in the middle of August. You've still got, 3+ weeks till your opener. But if any time that you can get a little pulse check on where you are relative to others, I think it's a good thing to have. I think Sean Payton kind of knows where his team is right now.
Yeah.
But you're always looking for little benchmarks that you can kind of, check off the box and say, yeah, I'm right. This is where we are.
Maybe I am very late to the party on this, but when you look at the Broncos opening and only 3 preseason games, and you look at the pair of joint practices, do you see any similarities between all 3 organizations the Broncos are facing? Because I thought of something and I'm like, wow, I don't think this happened by accident.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly San Francisco, as our very good friend Andrew Mason reminded us this week in the media scrum before Sean got to the podium.
He was a partner of mine before yours. I wish I was going to say I wish he was still my partner, but after
if only you could turn back time.
Well, no. Now that you've had this epiphany and it's the whole new you,
it is new me.
I think in your 60s you have finally evolved with the rest of us. You are no longer dragging your knuckles on the ground. You no longer grab Sarah by the hair and have a club in the other hand and drag her across the floor.
Yeah, that never happened, but okay, I get the illusion.
You have graduated from your Neanderthal days, and now you are all Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
You are far more, your golden center is shining as you have found your root chakra.
I think the similarities between the connections with San Francisco and New Orleans are kind of self-explanatory, right? I mean, I think we all get the, but anyway, Mace pointed out that San Francisco is, I think, outside of the division, the most common opponent for the Denver Broncos in the history of their franchise. So, of course, we defer to Mace on that because he is a kind of savant as it relates to things like that.
I'm well aware.
Right.
Anytime see, the one thing that you don't do with me that he always did was I don't want to use the word eager, but I used to joke with him all the time. I said, Mace, when you were in 3rd grade, were you the guy who corrected the teacher in class? And he smiled, and I knew he kind of enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
So imagine being his radio partner, and any mistake I made, which was often, he would correct me on air constantly. It made me better, or at least more defensive. So let me give you my reasoning.
Sure.
I don't know if the most common opponent outside of the division for the Broncos is San Francisco, but I do know the Shanahan connection.
Right.
I do know the John Lynch connection.
Yep.
I do know the Elway to John Lynch connection, even though Elway is no longer, with the franchise. But Vance Joseph, where was his last coaching job?
Arizona.
Where was Sean Payton's last coaching job?
New Orleans.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
And that's what I mean by I don't think that this was an accident at all. And I'm sure that if, Sean had his way, he would love to have a joint practice with New Orleans to spend some time on the field with some old friends and see some old friends. Although I am not so sure they're going to be doing 2 joint practices next year and moving forward. Sean has pointed out it is a little bit of a grind, and it really kind of messes with your schedule. So I think did the Broncos have, since you've been here, joint practices with two teams?
No, this is a first. And
last probably too.
And could very well be a last.
Yeah,
Sean there were a couple of things that Sean was pretty vocal about earlier this week. The length of the shared practice in San Francisco, which he kind of just casually said went on a little longer than he had really wanted it to, which of course you pay attention to. That's an admission. But also the thing that I think really bothered him, and he said it directly, he said, you lose a day.
Right.
Basically, you lose a day when you are sharing practice and having an exhibition in the same week. And I get his math. It makes sense. I mean, your recovery time is absolutely key. Yep. So balancing recovery time with continuing to do the things that you want to do in a training camp, which is heavy on installations, as we all know. Right. You need your time to work on installing. And I think that he has is realizing that there's less time to do that when you're going through shared practices. So that's kind of the challenge moving forward. I think Sean might maybe he'll do them with a week in between, like a week. I don't think he'll ever do one back to back again. I think that's probably out, but we'll see how it moves, because they're not going to play pretty soon. It's going to be 18 regular season games and 2 exhibition games, and you still have to have ways to evaluate your personnel. So we'll see how it works then when you're only playing 2 exhibitions.
All right. I'm about to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
Tell me the truth. I sent show notes yesterday. Mm-hmm. Did you read them? Very rarely do you do.
Oh, no. Before the show starts, I have read your show notes.
Okay.
Now, that's not always the night before. Sometimes it's the morning of.
Okay. So with that, I don't know what put me on this path down the rabbit hole. And I don't mean rabbit hole as a bad thing, but I was thinking, wow, Trey McBride is coming back to town. Guy has become an unbelievable story. Grew up in Greeley, went to Colorado State, and he is more than arguably, he is one of the top 5 tight ends in football right now. So it got me to thinking, he's one of the best tight ends in the business right now. And I'm like, I wonder how many great players have come out of the state of Colorado, meaning they were born here, natives, and they were raised here, right?
Right.
Okay. Yep. With that, I could not believe, and I'm not trying to throw shade on high school football coaches or throw shade on any of the players that have grown up here and have played here in high school. I'm just stating a fact here. I could not believe how thin the list was of great Colorado high school players who have become far from great in the NFL. I mean, right now you can make the case right now, and I know his career is early. I'm basing this on trajectory for what Trey McBride did last year. He's going into his 4th year. Trey McBride is already one of the most accomplished Colorado prep stars to ever play in the NFL. Now think about that for a second. He's been in the league for 3 years. If you want to pick Dick Anderson as top of your list, he was an all-decades team guy.
Yeah.
Or an all-decade team guy with the Miami Dolphins, won, some Super Bowls, first-team All-Pro. If you want to put him at the top of your list, that's fine. Christian McCaffrey is absolutely number 2.
Right.
If you want to flip those 2, that's fine. Those would be my top 2. The next would be, go ahead, the next would be Calais Campbell.
Yeah.
After that, you can make the case Trey McBride might be next. Well, if you look at his trajectory.
Do we count Tony Baselli as a Colorado guy?
Great.
I mean, because if we do, he's pretty high on the list.
Well, okay. So he was born in Colorado, right?
Yes. Yes.
And he played high school football.
I think in Boulder, didn't he?
Okay. So Tony Baselli would be on the list. And I really looked up who, he went to Fairview.
There you go. Okay.
He was born, though, in Modesto.
Okay.
So
born in California, but obviously raised largely in Colorado.
Right.
Do you count a guy like that as a Colorado guy?
I suppose it depends on when he comes here.
Yeah.
If he came here at the age of 10, listen, you could play this game and come up with any type of rules that you want to.
Right.
Okay. So,
but I like the idea of born, raised, Colorado native.
Yeah.
I mean, Baselli would be a guy that I think that he would. I mean, there are obviously very strong and deep Colorado roots. I mean, when you go to high school there here, I guess that's that puts you in that. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I hear you. I mean,
but even so, it's a very thin list.
Yeah.
And listen, Dave Logan is the greatest athlete to ever come out of this state.
Yeah. Well, when you consider being multiply drafted and things like that.
And what I'm about to say is not a knock on Dave. Both you and I know Dave well, and we both like Dave. But he wasn't a great NFL player like Christian McCaffrey, like Anderson, like Calais Campbell. But think about the pool of people that we're talking about. They're all really good NFL players. The fact they played in the NFL is tremendous in itself. But we're not talking anywhere near some of the all-time greats. Baselli would be considered one of the better tackles to ever play this game.
Right. I would agree with that. And I do agree, and I want to reiterate, just playing in the NFL means you're one hellacious football player. I mean, there is no questioning of that. So, yeah, use that as our guide.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on. There's a great phrase in football, which is, are you willing to run through a wall for your head coach? Kay Adams sat down with a bunch of players, sat down with Sean Payton. And by the way, as a side note, it's going to sound like I'm bitching here.
Never.
Listen, Bruce, no matter what you say, I am the best.
Yes, you are. And I will never forget it.
Okay.
Well done, my friend.
I am the best husband ever. Why is it that Sean Payton always gives his, or maybe saves his best interviews for the national media? He gives us stuff, but when he talks to Kay Adams, who they seem to be friends, or he, talks to any other Jarrett Bell, it's almost, listen, I'm not upset about it. He knows these guys better than he knows us.
Yeah.
But, we're going to be playing Kay Adams clips today.
Right.
Because what came out of those interviews are things that we have never heard, honestly, at the podium.
Well, I think that the pushback would be maybe we've never asked him that. I don't know. Here's what I would say. I think that Sean had his time in national media. I think he really enjoyed his time in national media. I think that Sean was okay in national media. I think there was certainly, I think he did a decent job for what he was asked to do. I think he obviously developed some friendships and some trusts from people in that element of national media in the time that he was doing it. We all know that Sean loves to talk. Really, at the end of the day, Sean is a communicator, and he loves to talk. With local, he will talk. I mean, as evidenced by 32 minutes and 11 seconds, as evidenced by 34-minute, pressers with the local media.
Yeah,
he will talk. I just think that you got to work a little harder to get it out of him at the local level than you do at the national.
Listen, I'm going to argue against myself here. And you have done thousands of interviews, as have I. You're going to give more in any interview setting if you are just sitting across from that person.
Yes.
If you're standing at a podium, you're kind of on guard a little bit more.
Well said.
Waiting for the next bullet to fly your way. When you're sitting down with somebody who you are comfortable with, you're going to tend to be, I think, far more open.
Right. I agree with that. I think you're on target.
Although he doesn't really do many sit downs with the local media anyway, does he?
He does some stuff with our friends at 9. They obviously have a financial
multi-million-dollar contract that they pay for,
and good for them. I mean, they're willing to do it. So I have great admiration for that. But so I think he does that, obviously. But no, that's about it. And I think that you're right on target. I think that when you're in front of and it's a pretty impressive throng. It may not be. I don't think it's intimidating to him in any shape or fashion. But I do think that you're probably a little more guarded when you're talking to 40 or 50 people at a time. Yes, right. I would say so.
So with that, Kay Adams sat down with a bunch of players and Sean Payton. One of the conversations she had was with Bo Nix and Courtland Sutton at the same time. The question essentially was posed to Bo Nix, but the money bite of the entire interview, or at least in that clip, was something that Courtland Sutton said under his breath, and I had to listen to it 3 times to actually hear what he said. And when I heard what he said, I was like, wow, that's next.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a new Sea-Doo, 4-wheeler, or the cash award from the Big Wheel Spin, plus $7,500 in cash. The grand prize drawing is the weekend of August 16th, and get finalist entries every 45 minutes from 10 a.m. to midnight during their daily cash drawing, with a locked-up jackpot of $100 or more. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos. Loose slots, great promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar. And welcome back. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Want to tell you about Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. Absolutely love this place. Everybody has their favorite barbecue place. To me, it is the best, but it's a great restaurant as well. And it's one of the better restaurants, if not one of the best restaurants in town, because Dave had a past life. He has taken his life experience. He has put it on the menu. It's more than just ribs and brisket and, pulled pork. Just the way he combines things. And you see the creativity on the menu. You're like, wow, this is really interesting. I've never had this, A, at another barbecue place, or B, at another restaurant, period. The sides are amazing. Their mac and cheese is absolutely fantastic. You got to try their collard greens. Cornbread, outstanding. All homemade desserts. It really has everything under one roof. You have your favorite barbecue spot. I understand. Try mine. Let me know what you think. You still may love your place, but I can promise you, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew will be neck and neck, if not better. Just my thought. Time now for What's Trending.
What's trending on Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl? Brought to you by Mile High Sports.
Okay, Bruce, want to get into what we talked about going into the break, and that was an interview that Kay Adams did. He sat down with Nix and Courtland Sutton to talk about Sean Payton's comments about Bo recently, being a top 5 quarterback in the next 2 years. But if you listen closely, it's Courtland Sutton who said something under his breath, who said the most revealing thing during this clip.
Would you want to one-up Coach on the Super Bowl? I mean, he said he's top 5. Do you want to throw top 3 out there?
Well,
not you, Bo.
Let's
Courtland.
just make sure we're going out there and, we got to – I don't know what I was last year, but –
Well, Coach is your top 5.
Listen, I'm glad that I got a coach that believes in us as players to put that stuff out there.
Best ever. Just kind of mumbled it. When you have a guy who, in theory, went through 2 contract negotiations with Sean Payton, is one of your team captains, absolutely one of your team leaders, when you have full buy-in from a guy like that, how much does that permeate through the locker room?
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who could be, sullied by the experience, right? Going through 2 different negotiations and extensions in his contract, uncertainty about being on the roster, all of those things. And yet he emerges on the other side of all of this with a very direct, well, it was under his breath, but you get what I'm saying. That's a pretty direct statement. I mean, he's making a very strong statement. And Eric, you see enough from this group of right now 90 guys where I think that this is the universal feeling. I'm not saying it's as adamant as Courtland Sutton put it.
No, actually, wait, hold on. Zach Allen said the same thing about the organization.
Sure did. Absolutely. Pat Surtain has been, very direct about this organization and its ownership. And it goes, to me, back to the whole picture. Sure, Courtland's talking about a head coach at that particular point, but it's also ownership. It's also the feel of what's happening here. It's also about their shared culture. It's just a really kumbaya kind of place right now where everything is working on a level that you like it to work at, right? Now, you've got to improve from this point, but I agree with you. When you have buy-in on your leadership to the point where you trust it so completely, it takes away any distractions that you have collectively as a team where you are, for instance, doubting the instructions, like, what's my motivation? Nope, we're in a place now where it's, we trust Sean to do the right thing. And you do. You hear it from McGlinchey. You hear it from Troutman. You hear it. I mean, anytime that it comes up, the message is fairly consistent. There's a lot of belief in Sean Payton, not only what he's done, but what he's doing. And that's valuable.
Now let's go to the complete opposite side of what you said. and that is the Cleveland Browns. I have been critical of Shedeur Sanders, and I've been critical of Deion Sanders. I recognize all of the great things that both of them did and have done and will do for Colorado. What I'm about to say is not a knock on Shedeur Sanders. It's a knock on the Browns franchise. If you remember back in June, Shedeur Sanders over the course of 12 days got pulled over twice for speeding. 91 and a 60 the first time, then doesn't show up for his arraignment. And then, a few days later, whenever it was, he got caught going 101 in a 60. There was no discipline, nothing for Shedeur Sanders. I'm not suggesting there should have been any, discipline for Shedeur Sanders. The reason why I'm bringing this up is, and this has to do with ownership, starting from the top and then going down to the head coach, so on and so forth. Myles Garrett on Friday got pulled over for going 101 miles an hour in a 60. And Mary Kay Cabot, terrific beat reporter for the Cleveland Plain Dealer, she covers the Browns, said there is a chance there could be some disciplinary action for Myles Garrett.
Could be.
With that, generally speaking in sports, if you have a great player and then you have a 5th-round draft pick who is number 4 on your depth chart, and they do the same thing, who usually gets punished?
The 5th rounder.
Nothing for Shedeur. I'm not suggesting there should be. I'm not coming down on him. But what does it say about and one of the reasons why Mary Kay Cabot wrote that they might discipline Myles Garrett is this is the 8th time, at minimum, something like this has happened with him. Okay? And that's since he was drafted in 2017, I believe. So 8 times since 2017. With that, what kind of message does it send to the locker room where we'll punish one guy, we won't punish the other guy, but usually it is flipped? Yeah. What is Jimmy Haslam doing there? And to me, this, bleeds into this conversation, into everything that you just said, and I agree with, about the Penners, where it is consistent. There is no doubt who runs the show. Everything is dealt out even-handedly with the Broncos. I feel badly for Shedeur Sanders that he is playing with that organization on so many different levels. They've been a hot mess for a long time. They're about to potentially go on to their 7th quarterback on the roster.
Right.
Because Shedeur got injured. And instead of Tyler Huntley, who was just brought in last week, him playing the entire game for the Browns, now they might have to bring in somebody else. When there was talk about Shedeur being drafted, 2nd overall by the Browns, I'm thinking, please don't take him.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
These Browns, don't take him. In some ways, your career is going to be predicated on the organization that you go to, specifically at the quarterback position. Joe Thomas turned out just fine.
Yeah.
But he was a tackle, and not to diminish the position of tackle. But what does it say about an organization that they're willing to punish their leader, yet they're not willing to make it even for everybody? And if anything, again, usually you're punishing the lesser player, not the top player, because you don't want to hurt his feelings.
It's a direct reflection of culture. It may be a snapshot of it, but it is a reflection of culture. The NFL has some very unfortunate incidents that have to do with driving a car fast, see death at the hands of a player in Las Vegas as recently as 4 or 5 years ago.
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, there are examples of this that warn you, come on, seriously. But to your point, if you don't have a good message and consistency with that message in your franchise, I think that you're in a deficit position. I think that you're starting behind those that do have good culture. And it's not to say that things don't happen. I mean, there are plenty of things that happen to the teams that have some of the best culture. I mean, every now and then you see, but generally speaking, when you have enough culture where guys police other guys, then you've got a really good thing. When there are expectations to live up to, and you are expected to live up to them and be honest with them, those are good things for any group. I think anyway.
Speaking of the Kay Adams interview, she talked to Sean Payton about, Super Bowl expectations
Sure.
and are you contenders? And one thing that he said struck me. And he said, this is the 7th team that he has had that he believed going into the season, they have a legitimate shot. What he said about the locker room was, these guys police themselves. I don't have to police them. I trust them that they are going to take care of it. And that is a big deal. Continuing on something that Sean Payton said, we have joked about Sean in the way that I don't want to say joked. Sean isn't very quick in his speech. There's a lot of ums there. There's a lot of fragments when he talks. So we have had this conversation, and rightfully so. He has a lot of really long play calls. A lot of them. So if he's having trouble getting with the way he talks to the media, he's not an easy soundbite to cut up if you're trying to do it for TV or for radio.
Yep.
So if it's not an easy soundbite to cut up, what's it like with him trying to get the play call into Bo?
Yeah.
And then Bo has to repeat it, and he's a rookie quarterback. And before you know it, you're all lined up at the line of scrimmage with about 5 seconds to go, and you wonder why you have to take a timeout. So with that, Sean was asked by Kay, have you done anything in so many words to correct that, or are you doing anything new? And he has shortened his play calls. As an example, and this is the example that he used, he said if a play was called 22 flanker drive, halfback burst, it's now called Uber. Streamlining. I think this is something that we haven't talked about because in theory we just learned about it, but this could play a major role if everybody's on the same page and they know what Uber means. Bo Nix will have all day to diagnose the defense. Unlike last year, in which when you and I were doing the show on radio, I tracked plays on when they got to the line of scrimmage, and they were not giving Bo a lot of time. Now you would think Bo will have a lot of time. So good for Sean Payton is my point, for recognizing that my play calls are too long. I need to streamline it for Bo Nix, and this is going to benefit everybody.
This is part of what makes Sean Payton so likable as a coach. If you are an old dog, new tricks are invigorating.
Yeah.
And it shows a willingness to continue to evolve. This is something or other that Sean Payton, going back to Russell Wilson, remember the issues that he had with Russell Wilson.
Right.
The irony is with Bo could figure that stuff out and he generally could function with it. But Russ had issues. Russ didn't think in the same ways, and it took him longer to get the things out there. But look at the changes now that Sean has made, which ingratiates him with an offense or with his players in a small way. It is interesting. Now, I will say this. The length of calls in the NFL has always hearkened to every position group being told what they are doing on a particular play.
Right.
From that standpoint,
yeah,
you can fundamentally understand that it makes sense. Okay, I'm going to make the call. It's going to seem like a litany, way too long, but I'm basically telling every guy on the field what your responsibility is. So you streamline it, but you also better have a team that is bright enough and locked in enough from an IQ standpoint to understand what they're doing on Uber instead of whatever the call would have been previously. So you've got to know your responsibilities. You've got to know your playbook. Those are the kind of challenges that you have with making a change like that.
I want to throw one more thing in there. I'm guessing it is fair to say that Sean Payton has a healthy ego. He is a type A guy. And if you had to guess, he probably doesn't play second fiddle to pretty much anyone. Is that fair to say with his resume and his personality?
Yes.
With that, Kay Adams asked him about potentially passing, and he will, Bill Parcells on the all-time wins list. And he said he talks to Bill quite a bit, but this is what was so interesting. And it kind of pulled up the rug to see what Sean Payton not is really like, but it was a comment of humility. And he said, it's so funny. Every time I talk to Bill on the phone about football, and I'm paraphrasing here, he treats me like a first-year intern. It's not that Bill talks down to him, but Bill talks to Sean like he is still on his staff. He's in his first year, and he almost talks to, Sean, not like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but you know what I mean, right?
I do. Yes.
So for Sean to say that publicly, it was just a comment of humility that I really appreciated, in which he was basically saying, I take a back seat to Bill Parcells. When he talks, and if sometimes Bill's not going to be condescending to him. That's not what I mean. But even if it starts to go down that road, and, if Bill said to Sean, you really don't know what you're talking about. If he ever made a comment like that, Sean has the personality to push back, but he would not push back against Bill, is my point. That he's willing to accept the role of being a neophyte despite being incredibly accomplished when he's with arguably his mentor. It was just something that warmed my heart, that I'm thinking, okay, this guy isn't a robot. He's human.
And you're right. It is revealing, and it is reassuring that he has such great affinity, affection, respect for a guy like Bill Parcells, who obviously he worships. There's no question about it. But I mean, think about when, he is a guy that is very consistent about his respect for the history of the game and the history of the sport, enough that he will stop a practice with the passing. The passing of Lionel Taylor, which we read about yesterday, one of the great receivers in the history of the Denver Broncos franchise. Dollars to donuts, that will be talked about, if it hasn't been already, with the rank and file that are currently the Denver Broncos. Sean is very good about that. He has great respect for the history of the game, both generally across the board in the NFL, and particularly with the team that he is coaching, previously the Saints and now the Broncos. I love that, because you've got to have great respect for where this thing has come from to appreciate where it is.
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, I'll see you practice a little bit later today, as we will share a joint practice together. Make it the best possible day you can.